Growing up without our parents was a rough experience, but the worst happened when my brother got into drugs.
He spent all our savings to purchase drugs.
Isolated himself from his family members, and spent most of his time with his friends.
I did high as I did like this.
He got into many drugs from pills to weed, syrup, and he injected himself. He became very violent and got into trouble. He spent days outside without coming home. The drugs began to eat him gradually. It was painful seeing him lose his mind, but it was more painful when we lost him forever.
Stay safe. Don't do drugs. This is Narco Tales.
Hello and welcome to Narco Tales, the show where people with lived experiences of substance use share their stories, not to be judged, but to educate, inspire, and remind us that every choice has a consequence. I am your host, Netta Dozier. Our guest joins us virtually, so let's begin. Hi, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm good. Thank God.
Okay, so let's just get started. Please tell us your name and a little about your background.
Okay, my name is Abraham Okoduha, and I'm from Edo State, and I am a graduate of geology from University of Port Harcourt. I'm also a textilist, textilist too. So I grew up from a Christian home. I grew up as a child evangelist, and at a young age I was preaching and going around to win souls for Christ. So I grew up in an average Nigerian civil servant family. So that was the kind of background I grew up from. But most of my life was in Port Harcourt till university. So that's it.
Okay, take us back to the very beginning. Who were you before drugs entered the picture? Who was Abraham?
I had visions of being a pilot while I was younger. And at the same time, I was a dancer. And I was a VJ. So I was a voice junkie, I was a dancer. So I was more into showbiz, but at the same time, I had a strong passion for God. So over time, that was who I was. Then over time, I had a terrible encounter that changed the whole thing. And that terrible encounter was me being raped by someone I looked up to in the ministry. Being a young evangelist, you need mentors. You need people that understand life better than you, because as a child you have limited experience. After he actually told me, okay, stay behind after fellowship, I want to see you. I thought, okay, maybe there's something serious and all that, because at that age I was already being invited around for crusades, for programs, church programs, and also I was a popular evangelist, a child evangelist. Fortunately, that was not the case. That was my expectation was not the case. It was actually worse, because when everybody else left and I waited behind, he went straight to the door, locked the door, and actually came back to me, sat close to me, and I was expecting, okay, maybe he wants to advise me or something. And the next thing that happened was started touching me inappropriately. But at some point, I became so uncomfortable instead of going to my private parts and all. I resisted, and before I knew it, he forced himself on me. So going back home, I was devastated. I felt betrayed. I felt abandoned by God. And unfortunately, I come from a complicated home. I come from a complicated family. So my dad and mom are always nagging at each other and all. And most times, we the children have to be the victim of the whole scenarios. Like the saying goes, when two elephants fight, it's the grasses that suffer. So I was scared to actually speak. And when I got home that same day, both of them were still as usual nagging at each other, quarreling about something and I just passed and I just went inside. I couldn't expose it to anybody, so the people are eating me from inside out. Most times when I want to pray, the picture begins to flash in my head. When I want to study the scripture, I'll just be looking at the scripture, I'll just only be seeing letters, I will not see anything because my mind cannot be there. And I felt betrayed by God. Because I felt if after everything the souls have been winning for you, the evangelism I've been doing, my mates are joining courts, doing all the terrible things. Because I grew up from my friend Job, and that is like the ghetto of Port Harcourt. Job is like the ghetto of Port Harcourt. So I grew up in what you can call like a ghetto. It's not like I'm some rich kid. And in my peers, then most of them were into courts and all that. That was the trending page at that point. But instead, it was more like I kept myself, tried to be responsible, tried to live a good life, tried to live a godly life, and this is what I get for serving you. It isn't fair. So that it develops that sense of rebellion against God at that point. So that was just led to it, and I left the path that I knew before, and that was where the whole thing changed because all my life that was the only thing I knew. I was a church boy. That was all I knew. I didn't know life outside that. And by the time I actually went out there, I was looking for that sense of belonging, and I didn't have that. So that was who I was.
Can you remember the very first time you got introduced to substances? Can you tell us exactly what happened?
Well, that was when I was in university actually. But before that, what led to the gateway to me experimenting, and the first narcotic substance I took was actually weed. But before then, the gateway substance I took that led to it was cigar, that Cuban cigar, the big one. Like I mentioned before now, after I lost my way and I was in search of belonging, I felt based on, I usually see it in movies that big boys hold cigar and they smoke it and all. So I felt, okay, I want to be a big boy and that is what big boys do. So I started going to clubs, and when I go to club, I usually buy the cigar, and that's how I started smoking. So I started smoking with big cigar then. Then when I gained admission into school, I realized something that my neighbor that was next to me, although the dude was not even good looking at all, but there was this kind of confidence he had. And for some reason, he was always carrying pretty girls. And me that was good looking, I had no girlfriend. So I believe that actually made me feel inferior back then in school. And I wanted to always affiliate with him and be his friend, go close to him, hoping to actually, be recognized as a big boy too. So, and that was how I started linking up with him. I started escorting him. So they would go to the bunk. The bunk was usually a bush close to where our hostel in school was. They would go by. So one day I decided to like experiment with them. That time I decided to like out of curiosity, I was like, okay, let me try that. Maybe this will make them accept me more as in a person when sabi, in a person when know what's up. So that was how I started smoking weed. And after that, I now came across some students that were actually my peers because this particular person that was my neighbor was actually he was more like I think he was in year three. Yes, he was in year three while I was a fresher. I was a fresher then, so there was difference. But I was able to link up with my peers when I was in school. All of us were still year one, but I think that was around that year one second semester. So we became friends, and most of them were rich kids. And because I actually come from an average home, I felt because they are rich kids, they come from rich backgrounds, they were better than me. So I considered it like a privilege ruling among them. And this was something that was detrimental because most of them were also using substance, codeine, retinol, different stuff like that. Yeah, so I started joining them to use, and that was because I wanted to be accepted in that clique. I wanted to be recognized with the clique. So that was how we say experimenting with coding. Sometimes when we don't have money, we donate money together. Maybe buy one bottle of codeine and we'll split it. Then retinol, weed. At some point, we say adulterating the weed with crack and SK and the rest. So that was actually how I first of all encountered drugs and its usage.
Can you tell us about, how you felt every time you took these substances? What did they do to you?
Okay. Well, I would say the damage of that wrong decision or that bad decision was that it actually stole years, relationship, resources, my business, literally everything except my life. It stole everything from me except my life. Because at some point, after we rounded up from school, by this time I was already a hairstylist. I make hair, nails. So I learned these things while I was still in school. Because most of them in my clique, they come from rich homes, so they already had one uncle that would put them in one oil company or the rest. And I knew I didn't have that. So I thought about, okay, what do I do and hustle with so that I can help myself in school and after school, still learning how to make it. So by the time I got my salon and we all have separated after graduating then, I noticed that I had actually I stopped smoking weed and taking all that. Possibly because the influence then was no longer there. The need for taking it was basically to satisfy my friends. They were no longer there. So I stopped. But shortly after that, the same pharmacy where we used to usually go, he was our supplier, where we usually go to buy from. That period, because after everybody left, I did not leave school premises. I opened a shop in my salon around here, since that's where I had most of my customers. I was feeling pains on my ribs that time. And being a biker, because I'm a biker, so being a biker, riding power bike most times you get exposed to wind. And so I was not feeling this pain. So I went back to the chemist guy that usually we buy stuff from. And I was like, usual Nigerian um, lifestyle where you feel one symptom, instead of you to go to the hospital to run a test, you self-medicate. Go not, may not miss one thing for you. Give me the paracetamol 100 naira, give me this one, like you just miss a cocktail of drugs. So that's the way I grew up. Normally, that's quite common in Nigeria, especially an average home where we believe that now only big men they go hospital. So usually it's more like if you're feeling malaria, your mom will tell you, okay, go meet nurse, may not give you some drugs and all. So I just felt, okay, since I'm feeling this pain, let me just go to the chemist guy, let him give me painkillers. So I went and I told him, okay, mix these drugs for me, let me take. He mixed some painkillers for me, I took them, they didn't work. Funny enough, I did not know that what I was suffering from at that point was actually pneumonia, which antibiotics could have easily resolved. But because of me, I went through the path of self-medication. I skipped that process. I took the treatment into my own hands, whereby making a deadly error that almost cost me my life. So when I came to him, he gave me the ones he did. They didn't really work.
Thank you very much, Abraham. We're going on a short break now. When we return, the story takes an unexpected turn. Stay with us.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Welcome back to Narco Tales. Thank you for staying with us. So at the time, did you know the risk of the drugs that you were taking?
No, because I actually felt safe because since it was from a pharmacy, I felt, after all, nothing is they give me. But the thing is, why I felt more vulnerable to taking it is because that clique I talked about, the rich boy or rich kid clique that I was so desperately wanting to be part of, whenever we go to this chemist to actually buy our normal drugs from him, he usually gives this same pentazocine to one of my friend's younger brother, because the guy is actually a sickle cell warrior. So whenever he comes, we usually sometimes escort him to take it. So that was how I knew that such an injection existed. And my friend, once in a while, usually take the injection too. Once in a while, he will take it. Once in a while, he will take it. I will be like, guy, how far? Why do you think you'll be like, more, the feeling go where it's in line? So meaning it have already been registered in my mind that, this thing is nine. But I guess the reason why I did not proceed with it then was because I was scared of needle. But now that I'm not going through pain, when the chemist guy came up with the option that, what about this pentazocine? Now, waiting sickle cell, surgery patients, ulcer patients, that's what they use. So why not you try them now? The thing will be okay. That's your guy said when they come in, they pick up. So since my mind had already registered it as, oh, this thing will feel nice. So I felt I just used that as an excuse to want to experiment. I think so, but I felt that was just the case. Because I felt, oh, okay now, since now that's wrong. At least maybe I can get to find out how it feels too. Possibly that was what was running through my head because I hadn't really processed the whole thing in a while. So that was just it. And he injected it. He tied my hand and gave it to me. And within seconds, the pain disappeared. Within seconds, the pain disappeared. Now, the pain did not just disappear. I felt good. There was this high sense of euphoria, this sensation. I felt good. So I was just excited, I was feeling good, feeling myself. It was as if I was living a consistent climax. That was how the feeling was for me. And so I just went back to the shop, I was doing my thing, attending to my customers, making hair. Then after a couple of hours, for like 3 to 4 hours, I noticed that the effects started fading off. The euphoria, the feeling started fading off. Then the pain started coming back. So when the pain started coming back, I had to go back and tell the parents, guys, this is maybe can't work again. He now gave me another one. So that was how it was consistent until one ampoule that was enough before to calm the pain and maybe give me that euphoria for 4 hours was no longer lasting up to 30 minutes. Because I've actually developed a particular level of tolerance and dependence on it. So I had to just go back and I complained that this may last again. He now increased it from 1 to 2. That's how I started taking 2, from 2 to 3. And at some point, I've gotten hooked. By the time I've gotten to 3, I was already hooked.
Did the drugs give you anything you felt was missing in your life at the time? Could be excitement, peace, self-awareness, just anything at all, or was it something else?
Yes, it did. It actually gave me bliss. I think, yes. Bliss, that was something that was actually missing in my life. At that point in my life, I was in a struggle with my self-identity. So my mind at that point was chaotic. The transition from who I was to who I was then was a very chaotic process for me. So whenever I took the drugs, it actually made me feel relaxed, made me feel blissful, gave me this sensation. The euphoria felt good. So, and it was more like a place to find bliss in a chaotic world. So yes, it actually did give me something I felt. I did not say it is missing, I said I felt was missing. Because it's one thing to feel something is missing, and it's another thing for the reality to be that thing is missing. Okay, because sometimes most of the happiness we chase out there are actually something within us. There is no happiness that I want to give to you that you don't already have within you. So I felt I lacked bliss. I felt I lacked happiness. So that was more like I found that bliss and happiness in that substance.
How did your drug use change in those early days? Was it once in a while at first, or did it, quickly spiral into dependence?
Well, it was occasional at first, yes. Then it became more frequent. Usually I call that the principle of graduality. And it is a process in which someone starts up a particular action, and consistency in that action turns into a habit. And that habit consistently turns into a character. So yes, most of the addicts you see today are actually people that they did not start just frequently, immediately. It started with just, once in a while, and before you know, you get hooked. And that was also applicable on my own case. So it was not frequent initially. It was more of once in a while. And before you knew it, the consistency became more frequent for me. And I kept on taking it frequently, and the frequency actually increased alongside with the consistency. It increased, and it got to the extent whereby I was now consuming 6 packs of Penta in a day.
Oh wow!
6 packs of penta, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the evening. It was now as if my life, I was now living a euphoric life whereby it seems like if actually I was not on it, I would not be able to function. In short, I would not feel normal. I didn't know how to operate in the world or navigate the world anymore without being in that euphoric state.
Looking back now, what would you say was the biggest mistake you made at the beginning that led to dependence?
My major mistake would go down to the source.
Okay.
Because I strongly believe if I have not left the path I was initially on, perhaps all this would not have played out. The need to want to belong would not have played out for me to have friends that would have influenced me into taking those substances. I wouldn't have had my low self-esteem. And what was that mistake was believing that for you to actually attribute the attitude of people around church or around a religious body to God. Simply because someone treated you bad does not mean God treated you bad.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I know what I know now, looking back, possibly I would not have interpreted the rape and the action by the person I looked up to against me to be God's problem. I wouldn't have actually put the blame on God, whereby withdrawing myself out, and that made me vulnerable. And also, followed by that, when it comes to the drug use, I think one of the greatest mistakes I made was learning how to inject myself. Because the moment I actually learned how to inject myself, the whole thing accelerated fast. The whole thing escalated. Before, I had a particular level of control whereby if I needed to take it, I'll have to go to the chemist, pay for them to tie my hand and do the whole injecting thing. But once I now learned, because I thought, oh, guy, for me to go and waste money here every time, why I'm not, no, be just to chew come. I think that's what I feel do by myself. And I think that was one of the worst mistakes I made at that point. Apart from living the path that God have already created for me, was me learning to inject myself. So when I started injecting myself, it became worse and I lost control. The little control I thought I had left was gone because I was not taking it based on impulse. So I'll just buy them in packs and I'll take them home. So whenever the craving just comes, no more control anymore. I just go tie my hands and I kept injecting. And because of the frequency of the injection, it started damaging my body. So I think, yes, that's one of the worst mistakes I made when it came to the addiction. Then when it came to the path to the addiction, I think it should have been the place where I actually alienated myself from God.
When did you realize that this had gone beyond experimentation and had now become dependence?
Most times you don't know you're addicted to a thing until you try to stop. It is when you try to stop you realize that, oh, I can't stop. At that point, you know that, man, I'm hooked. I need help. So, yes, the point where I tried to stop was when I realized that my body started decaying. Blisters, we gather. You can see the scars on my hand. Yes. So when I started noticing the blisters and the offensive odor that was coming out of my body, people were complaining. So at that point, yeah, I knew that I needed to stop, that this thing was killing me. And that was when I tried to stop. And when I tried to stop it, I couldn't. Then it now dawned on me that I was in trouble. And I just kept going down that tunnel, down, until I almost lost my life.
Thank you very much, Abraham. This was such an interesting conversation. Thank you for being part of today's conversation. But this story doesn't end here. Join us next week as our guest returns to share the impact he had on his life and his road to recovery. I am Netta Wedoze. Thank you for watching.
Because these are medical issues, we can't be coming out just like we publish the names of suspects arrested, we publish pictures of the drug exhibits. We can't publish the names or the faces of people that are going through counseling and rehabilitation in our facilities, because that would be against their interest. That would not really be nice. But then we do inform the public again in our weekly statements about some of these activities to raise awareness and also to provide support and help to as many people that are going through, that are struggling with substance abuse, we do provide this information. We also do have a conversation on every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m., where we sensitize the people and also provide this information on how people can get assistance, especially through our call center, where people can get support from counselors, clinical psychologists, and psychiatric doctors who work at our call center, where people can, through our toll-free helpline, get treatment and support, psychosocial support services. So we do all of this without necessarily bringing out the identity of the individuals who benefit from these services.
Don't do drugs, too. Don't do drugs, too. Don't try it, though. He go choke you, oh. He go steal your sunshine, oh. He go shock you, oh. He don't kill him any youth for my area. Even for your area. When you start it to stop, it no go easy. As you dey drag am go, he dey drag you down. Water come out from my eyes, oh. When I remember all the guys, oh. Way many of them kiki bucket, oh. Some cut to socket, oh. Make we no forget, oh. No dey talk it, oh. Say, don't do drugs. Rock up you see body, oh. Don't go wound your busy body. If you die, you go sad, oh. Oh yeah, help me tell somebody. Say, rock up you see body, oh. Body, oh. Body, oh.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.